Hi guys, I'm Nick Bester and race week is here. London Marathon, we're coming for you. Sorry, I'm acting a little bit crazy like this. When I get pre-race nerves, I tend to do these type of things, and I hope this feeling never ever goes away. I pour my heart and soul into training, so when these races come around and these full sends come around, they mean a lot to me. So let's go and get it. So I'm a 2:19 marathoner, running coach, and I'm on an absolute mission to try and PB at this year's London Marathon with just a couple of days to go. It's actually so close that I've got the race cut in. Check it out. Here is the racing stripes. And then I asked the new guy at the hairdresser to do the Adidas logo. He said he could, and this is how it turned out. I'm actually considering shaving the sides of my head completely clean, but I don't want to look like I broke out of prison as well. So I've got a couple of days to decide. Let me know your thoughts. But this video is just an honest video from our side ahead of London Marathon. If you follow my channel and support my journey, I want you to sort of know where I'm at heading into this race. You deserve to know. And so I'm going to talk about sort of what's gone well this training block, what's in my favor. I'll talk about what hasn't gone so well, what's counting against me. And then finally onto my goal for London Marathon and how we're going to execute it. I think let's touch base first of all on what hasn't gone well this training block and what's sort of counting against me. I want to touch base on the fact that I've been a little bit ill lately. You know what? I've realized you need a little bit of luck in the sport sometimes. I'm on so many like immune boosters, vitamin C, eating nutritious. But sometimes you just need a little bit of luck as well. And thankfully, London Marathon wasn't this last weekend, because if it was, I wouldn't have started. It's never worth pushing your body to the breaking point when you're sick. There's always a much bigger picture, and these races come around quicker than you think. But I would have been absolutely devastated if I didn't start. But if I think back to 5 days ago, I couldn't really even tie my shoelaces properly. My back was achy. I was just in no way, shape or form to put myself through a marathon. So I would say I was probably at around 2 out of 10. At the time of this filming, with a couple of days to go, I'm probably at around 8 out of 10. So I'm a lot more upbeat. My body's feeling good. I've just got to kick the last little bit of phlegm. So, we've got a couple of days. So I'm hoping come that start line, I'll be sort of 10 out of 10 and I have full intention of racing. It's because I'm feeling good enough within myself. And then another thing sort of, not in my favor for the race on Sunday is the weather. It's not too bad, but it's a little bit warmer than I would have liked. So the low is 9 degrees, the high is 21 degrees. My racing temperature is sort of between 14 and 17 degrees, which is not that bad, but I'm someone that absolutely thrives in the cold. When I think of my exceptional performances, they've been in between sort of -1 to about 6 degrees or so. That's like my sweet spot. So this is a good 10-15 degrees warmer than my sweet spot. It's never going to be that cold at London Marathon, of course not, but I would have liked maybe a little bit cooler. But it is what it is. We can't control it. And you know what? I can't complain about it because I'm starting at 9:35, even though I wish London Marathon would start at like 6:35 when it is still cool. There's a lot of people starting at like 11 and they're going to maybe take like 5-6 hours. So, they'll feel the most of the heat. So I think, as long as we hydrate well before small and regular sips throughout, and I start really hydrated and hydrate well, then hopefully that shouldn't impact it too much. And then on to some of my past full send or all out attempts at London Marathon. They haven't quite gone according to plan. And when I think back to sort of, the second half of London Marathon on those hard attempts, I have really bad memories. Like those little bumps, once you've hit a wall, feel like mountains to climb. I recently read Phil Knight's book, Shoe Dog. And in there, it was a reminder to me that professionals are professionals for a reason, because a lot of them have the ability to forget things and forget the pain they put their body through. And, I've done so many marathons now that I tend to think about the pain almost before the marathon. And I try and embrace it as much as I can. But I think you kind of like get to a spot where you're like, oops, here again type thing. But if I think back to my younger days, I was like naive and, I didn't think that much about things, and, you forget the pain you're going to go through. So that's really the approach I'm going for this one. Like, forget what pain's coming. We'll deal with it on race day, and let's just be positive. And I think, it could go one of two ways. One, I could get to those sections in London Marathon again at, the 25-30K mark and be like, I'm struggling again. Like, it's just not meant to be. Or I could be feeling strong at those points, and it'll give me an extra kick and be like, finally, now's my time to cash in. And hopefully it's going to be the latter. Once again, this is just me being honest, this training block, it's really been hard for me to find the balance. And it's a question I get asked a lot of the time, like, how do you balance, a full-time job with sub 220 training and family with young kids and friends and stuff like that? And it's a balance that I've really, really, really struggled with this block. I think a big part of that is because the little ones have unfortunately been sick over the past few weeks, and they've had a couple of days home from nursery. And I suppose, my wife that's got a corporate job, when she's in the city and my little one comes home, it's sort of like your day's kind of restrained a little bit, let's say. So yeah, that's been quite tricky. For me, family will always come first. I want to be there for my kids. And when you're running 200k weeks and stuff like that, it can be a little bit selfish sometimes in that. So to just get that balance right whilst having a growing business has been really, really tricky this block, I'm not gonna lie. But there's a bit of a positive caveat to that. My wife, who's been in the corporate world pretty much throughout her whole working career, she's actually stopping next week just after London Marathon, and she's going to join me at Best Athletics, and yeah, we're going to see how things go for a little bit. So yeah, honestly, that's a big thanks to a lot of you who support this channel, people who buy the training guides, merchandise, athletes that I coach, people who just watch this channel. It all adds up, so thank you guys so much, really appreciate that. And yeah, running's given me a lot, I'm not going to lie, and for that I'll always be grateful for. So there is a positive spin to that. Okay, that's enough with what's not in my favor. All those negative thoughts, we're going to put them in a little bag and just throw them out the window, because we're thinking positively ahead of race day. We have to stand a good chance. So let's talk about what's gone really well this training block and what's counting in my favor heading into London. So I think firstly, training's gone really well. I've done higher mileage than ever before, and I've pushed my body harder than ever before. And I think a part of that is because the world's getting faster. There's a lot of crazy people in and around me, people that I follow on Strava or chat to, and they're doing crazy things, and I'm kind of like, well, let's push the limits. So now that I broke 220 at Berlin, I'm kind of like, we can risk it for the biscuit a little bit, push the button a little bit more. And I definitely feel that I'm the most marathon fit that I've ever been. And another big thing counting towards that is the double session days. So I did a lot of like double track Tuesdays where I was fitting in 20 kilometers of volume. In the past, I've done probably between 12 and 15. So a lot more volume, break it up and just feeling a lot better the next day. So I've fitted in higher mileage, but I've also fitted in higher quality volume and done more quality in this training block than in the past. Yeah, I've done 50 kilometers for the week. If I think back to my biggest weeks, this training block have been 200, a couple of 190k weeks, a lot more than I've done in the past, and the body's like itching to go. I'm bouncing my seat out. I want Sunday to come. So that's a really good feeling, and I'm sort of like starving the body of mileage in this taper phase, and you should be feeling like wanting to feel like that. I don't always feel like that, but I feel like the body's used to that routine. I'm not giving it mileage and it just wants to go. So hopefully we're like a coiled up spring that just wants to unleash come Sunday. And then finally, I've really enjoyed the training this block. It hasn't felt like a mission, fitting in those 200k weeks or 190k weeks. I sort of like took recovery seriously. I felt so strong doing them, and it didn't feel like anything was forced. So I just love the process. And you know what? There's so much more than just the marathon. Like that's the little cherry on the cake, and that's the victory lap. But I've loved every little bit that's gone into this. I would just like to thank the perfect sponsor of this video, Pliability. I've used their stretch and recovery app for this training block, and it's been an absolute game changer. It's really helped me with both pre-run activations as well as post-run recovery. The pre-run activations are usually around 5 to 10 minutes long, and the post-run recovery is about 10 to 20 minutes long, so short and sweet and goes a very long way. I've been following their marathon program, and here's a sneak peek into some of the post-run mobility that I've been doing. Not only does it keep me accountable, but it gives me some new ideas for stretches that I often wouldn't do. It's something I really look forward to post-run. My favorite part has to be the 2 to 3 minute rebound at the end, where you just go into your own world and soak up all the goodness. Once you start getting all these little bits around running right, not only do you feel good, but you start running better too. Thanks so much to Pliability for the physical and mental rejuvenation and just helping me unlock these marginal gains. Download the epic app today and thank me later. I'll include a link in the description of this video. Okay, so now onto my goal for London Marathon. Just to recap, my previous 6 marathons, I've averaged 221. So yeah, I pride myself on consistency. That's something I'm incredibly proud of. And it took me 7 attempts, and then I finally broke 220 at my previous all-out marathon, which was Berlin. I finished that marathon, and because I tried so hard, I think it felt like I was in heaven. I was like, there's going to be no better feeling in my running career than this. It's incredible. And I said then, I've almost achieved what I wanted to achieve, and anything from here on in is a bonus. So we're going into this race with like that same mindset, like anything from here on in is a bonus, but I need to really, really want it, because when those demons come screaming at 30, 32Ks, I don't want to be like, you've broken 220, just run another 220 low. It's a good attempt. No. we're going for it, and I need to block those out. So the plan for London is that I would love to run a 218 XX, so anything 218 would be incredible. And my strategy in order to do so generally I'm sort of like an equal to negative split style runner. When I PB'd at Berlin, it was quite a big negative split. But the way the London Marathon course is set out, and I'll get a course gradient map on screen now, but the first 5Ks are net downhill, and then sort of the first half is, you know, more downhill than what the second half is. So it's not really a negative split style course. And if you do equal or negative splits, you're overtaking a lot of people's second half. So, you know, good luck to you if you're doing that. And if you're able to, amazing. I think we all have to have the mindset of doing that. But I think for that reason, I want to go through halfway in probably around 69 minutes to 69:30. So I'm giving myself 30 seconds leeway. I like to give myself a little bit of leeway depending on what the groups are doing around me. It's not going to be too windy on race day, but groups save 1 or 2% energy. We're sort of sharing the work. So I'm expecting there to be quite a few runners around me. You know, there's a very, very strong field in the elite and sort of sub-elite places this year for London Marathon. So that's my halfway range. And then from halfway, I would love to sort of do equal splits. I'm conscious that after halfway, it's going to be a lot of solo running. That's just the way these marathons work, or for me at least. But as long as I can sort of like match that effort and run a 218 something, that would be, you know, the A goal, and that would be incredible. The B goal would be to PB. So I ran 2:19:49 at Berlin. So anything under that would be amazing. The C goal would be to go sub 220. So between 2:19:45 and 2:20, the margins are tight, but I'd love to back up a sub 220 with another sub 220. That would just be epic. And then the D goal, if everything goes wrong, you know, which it's a marathon and it can, we don't like to think about that, but obviously it can, is to just then soak up the crowds. Like, you know, London Marathon, it's such a privilege to run that race. There's like over 900,000 people that apply for that race, and there's what, 55,000 runners. It's 500,000 people that support. So yeah, you know, I'm privileged enough to be able to run that race, and times are very important. But at the end of the day, like, if things go wrong, you know, we're going to soak it up. It's going to be incredible to still be there. That's for sure. And then a couple of extra bits and pieces I want to mention. So I'm going to be recording this with my little head cam. So content over splits this one. I'm joking. I might sacrifice 1 or 2 seconds, because basically what I have to do is start and stop it. I'm going to do that 3 times en route. I'm going to capture the beginning, Tower Bridge, and the finish. It records for 30 minutes. So I'll probably do like 8 minutes or so. But yeah, if you're watching this and you're going to be en route, please get some landscape footage. I would love to make a killer YouTube video after that. Apart from that, if you're watching this on time, I'm hosting a Saturday morning shakeout outside Buckingham Palace. 20 minutes, easy. All abilities welcome, with an optional breakfast. If you're coming along to that, sign up. I'll put the details in the description below, and pliability might just give you a little something. Hopefully meet you there if you are coming along. And then lastly, I just wanted to say thank you for the support, guys. What will be. I promise you, I don't take many things in life seriously at all. I try and take life lightheartedly, but when I dial in these marathons, it's business time, and I will leave absolutely nothing out there. For you guys that support me, you know, I deserve to give my absolute best for you. And you know, if you're running and watching this, good luck. There's nothing quite like it. It's honestly the most incredible marathon in the world. If you're supporting and you see me, please absolutely scream for me. Give me the loudest boom shakalaka you ever have. I want it to go through my core, so it takes my mind off the pain. It all helps, and it all gives me motivation. And yeah, the next video I make will be the race vlog, so I can't wait to do that. My last 3 all-out attempts at London have not gone well at all, and it's been a long time in the making. So, you know, I'm currently 35 years old. The next time I race London is probably going to be in a couple of years, because I'm racing Tokyo next year and stuff like that. So now's as good a chance as ever for me, and I really need to make it count. So I'm coming in there hungry, super motivated. I've trained almost as hard as I could have, and what will be. But let's leave nothing out there. Oh my word, and finally, you won't believe what just arrived. The race shoes have just arrived. Adidas have just released the Pro Evo 2s, which unfortunately I couldn't organize, but I've organized a pair of Pro Evo 1s, which are just as incredible, to be honest. It's not going to be raining, so yeah, we can use the shoe, and this is just so much motivation in here. So boom shakalaka, 218, let's go.